Oftentimes, we've even found as legislators, when we go into these courts, the term violent crime is even used when people are stealing packages. Violent crime is even used when people are accused of burglary and there happens to be a housing unit in that same dwelling. So violence is an artificial construction. And we have to be very clear that what is happening here with these district attorneys, that is violence.
Let's fucking go, baby. Let's go, New York. Well done. Congratulations to Mandambi. Super huge shout out to all of his voters, but a big shout out to the 80% females that voted for him. The women under 30. Congratulations and well done. It's wild. 1 minute you guys are crying about oppression, the next minute you're voting for it. I love it. And I know you guys voted this way because your liberal teachers told you to, and because you think you're going to get something free from it. And you might get a loaf of bread when you're standing in 5 boroughs waiting for your fucking scraps. Oh, I bet y'all women are excited too. Like y'all going out getting in designer durkas and shit. Getting all signed up for the handmade Haji tails and shit. I'm guessing you ladies are about to start taking classes on how to shut the fuck up because you're no longer allowed to speak. Oh, it's a beautiful thing. To the rest of the world, maybe now you understand why we want to do away with the 19th Amendment, because all of our fucking problems come from the 19th Amendment. Yes, ladies, you are the fucking problem. Damn, when you think women can't get any fucking dumber. Boom!
Remember this, middle-class New Yorkers. Remember these excuses, okay? Because you're going to be hearing them a lot. Governor Hochul is not raising the taxes on the rich. It's Governor Hochul's fault. Trump, he's not sending federal funds. He want to starve New Yorkers. It's Trump's fault. I can't give you all of these socialist things. They're not taxing the rich. Remember those excuses, right? So middle class, I know we said we ain't gonna raise your taxes, but New Yorkers are starving. It's only 1 percentage point. It's only a percentage point. You know that boat that you saved for? You retired, you wanted to go fishing. We gonna have to dip into that fund. You know, you wanted to send your kids to private schools so they didn't get indoctrinated by the woke bullshit. Your kids gonna have to go to public school, middle class. You know, I know you worked hard to give them a nice life away from the city, but we're gonna need some of that, okay, to pay for it, all right? Don't worry, it's only temporary. Temporary is their favorite word. It's only gonna be temporary, middle class. You know, once we get rid of Hochul and Trump, then we can tax the rich. But for now, you're gonna have to trust us, middle class. Trust us on this one. Trust me, bro.
Welcome everyone. Welcome to the show. It's Talks with Kenny, and we're going to talk into my reactions to the sweep. Democrats swept. They won states and cities that they were supposed to win, right? And I got some comments already on the comment section. You know, the left, they coming for your boy, right? They getting on me. They said MAGA is ass cheeks, right? This is one commenter said, and I do read all your comments, guys. If I like your comment or I heart your comments, it means I seen it, right? And sometimes if I don't heart your comments, I seen it, I just didn't like your take. But hey, we're all free to express ourselves on this. But you know, the left right now are gloating right now, and especially these 81% of young women who voted for a little communist, but the right has spent the past few weeks attacking young men as the problem. And this is something I've been technically calling out, right? I believe I'm an advocate for the young men. I advocate for my gender, right? Is that all this attention on women, all women this, women that. But we all know the stats. If you let women vote only, Democrats win every single time, hands down, right? And there's this overreaction, right? And I talk about how in my prediction video, a day before the election, I talk about how this is an off-cycle year. New York was 35% against Trump. Virginia was 11% against Trump. And New Jersey was like 15% against Trump, right? They had negative sentiments towards Trump. All the Democrats led in the polls leading up to this. So Democrats did what they're supposed to do. And Democrats in my comment section, right? Leftists in my comment section are trying to get me to be scared about next year. Wow. So so Democrats won in Democrat strongholds, and I'm supposed to be scared about the national election. Yeah, make it make sense, right? The same party that won all the blue strongholds and still lost the election because they didn't win the swing states. And that was my argument. This is like, you can't extrapolate anything from this. Democrats did their job. Democrats are motivated to show up. And this is something that I shout out to Greg Foreman of the Black Conservatives channel. He brought this point up and I wanted to reiterate it here. Sorry, I messed up that word. But the point is, Democrats are more motivated because they're out of power. Trump is doing things that Democrats don't like. Deporting illegals, deploying the National Guard, doing something about crime, because, you know, liberals love criminals, as you saw from the intro. It seems like young liberal women have no survival instincts. I'm just saying, like, right there. I'm just making jokes about this, but, you know, this is why you got some people who said they want to repeal the 19th. I'm just saying, this is why some people think that. Trump did focus on immigration and the economy. The reality is that the backlash is happening because he's actually got things done. That's how politics work. The opposition party gets mad and they vote. Democrats got wiped out after Obamacare. Exactly. And I agree with that. I've been paying attention to the politics long enough to remember that. And I think, you know, some of the takes of some people, I think it's kind of hyperbolic, but we know where the socialist stuff ends, right? When socialist plans don't come to fruition, guess what they do? Find excuses. Right. And I think, you know, I'm not going to buy the excuses, and I don't think a lot of voters are going to buy the excuses. But here I want to play some clips from Scott Jennings. I think Scott Jennings did a good job kind of articulating Zohran's kind of output, his outcome, the ramifications of Zohran winning, and pretty much telling that the old guard Democrats have finally conceded ground to socialists. Let's take a look.
I think the vulnerability here is, how do you deliver on these promises?
Yeah.
When you have the top 1% and 2% of income earners in this city who pay more than half of the taxes, if there's a mass exodus of those individuals, your free buses, your free grocery stores, your free whatever you want to think of, it's not going to happen. And so at some point, once he's sworn in, he's going to have to govern. It sounds great to promise any and everything to everybody, but when you don't have the income to subsidize those promises, reality is going to hit into that base that you're talking about, and they're going to say, well, wait a minute here. This stuff isn't happening the way he promised, and that's going to be a real issue for him. But the cost of living is something that I think a lot of people expect Republicans to address. And I think one of the reasons Mamdani had a pill in New York, while I vociferously disagree with everything he stands for, when he talks about free grocery stores, he's appealing to people who are struggling in this city to pay for groceries. I understand psychologically why that resonates. When he talks about free buses, I understand why people who are struggling to afford to get to work, why they say, okay, well, this seems to make a little bit of sense to me. Yeah. And when he talks about taxing the wealthy, again, I get the through line, but the question I think that conservatives have to remind people, how is this sustainable? Yeah, and it isn't. Well, I think Democrats are going to attempt to model some aspects of Mamdani's pronouncements about economics. I think there are a lot of Democratic voters, you guys correct me if I'm wrong, who do feel disillusioned about their economic status. And I think there's a fundamental question for the American people. What economic model do you want to follow? A capitalist one, argued by Republicans, or one that's government controlled, argued by my Democratic friends, that just simply does not work? It stifles innovation. It stifles growth.
Yeah. You know, I think just want to offer condolences to Chuck Schumer. Honestly, what I'm reading here in New York City is that AOC is going to be the next senator from New York after she gets done whooping his rear end in the 2028 Democratic primary. And for his Senate races in 2026, I see the energy in the Democratic Party tonight behind a socialist, and I see the energy in Virginia, Democrats looking the other way on a violent candidate for attorney general who says he wants to murder Republicans and their children. If you think you're getting rid of Graham Plattner in Maine now, think again. This is a terrible night for national Democratic image, given what is happening inside their party. Mamdani is an avowed socialist. It's not what people say that he is, it's what he says that he is. He's now the leader of their party. That's their energy, and Chuck Schumer's
He's the leader of the Democratic Party?
Let's swear.
There is no. Who is the leader? Can someone tell me?
He's a life raft for Republicans who have to go on TV and get their asses kicked today.
You own this now. You all own this now.
The Democrats are saying stuff's expensive. They've been in charge for a decade in New Jersey. They've run the legislature for 2 decades. They're saying, oh, taxes are too high. Okay, with the 6th highest income tax, 2nd highest property tax, they've been running the state forever. And they shut down power plants. They shut down nukes. They shut down coal. Anytime you want to try to put a pipeline, natural gas through New Jersey, they block it. They spent billions on windmills that don't work, and now they're like, oh, stuff's expensive. Get out of here. This woman, Mickey, Mikey, I don't care what you call her. Call her the white Kamala Harris. They asked her what she wants to do on day one, and she was like, the dumbest woman I've seen of all time.
Yeah,
and I've seen a lot of dumb women. The Democrats.
However, there have been reports indicating that if Mamdani wins, there's as many as 1 million New Yorkers who want to leave the city, which they would actually help him out because.
Why do you think I'm investing heavily in luxury real estate in Palm Beach? Like, come on down, guys. And if you want to open a business in Nashville or in Florida, where we are located, we can help you set up your business application in a zero tax state.
But that would help. That would help Mamdani. I mean, accomplish lower housing costs because that's lower demand.
Tax base, but sure.
So I think you get the point. I think Trump derangement syndrome is still alive and well in the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party use their voters' emotions against them, right? They keep painting. I think one of the things that I failed to realize on my kind of analysis of the tactics with the government shutdown is the Democrats use the government shutdown to really drive engagement with their base. Now, as much as the rest of America, swing state voters, middle America, they knew their audience. They knew a lot of the races were going to be ran in Democratic strongholds, and they used the shutdown as a mechanism to drive voter engagement, right? As you saw from the intro, you saw, not from the intro, but you saw the commentary surrounding the election night, some of the outcomes, some of the incentives that I point out in my earlier videos is that at the end of the day, no matter what socialists debate me in the comment section about FDR and all that jazz, FDR became the example for why you needed the term limits. FDR, even though he had a 90% tax rate, he still couldn't generate the revenue and all the promises that he did, right? Some people even make the argument that it is because of his tax policy that the Great Depression extended well past how long you're supposed to do if you just left it on its own. Always meddling in something, always thinking you guys know best. And that's why I talk about the ego of the socialist. They think they can micromanage every aspect of human life and actually think they can produce a good outcome. And then when it fails, right, when they can't keep their promises, oh my God, it was Trump. It's Trump's fault I couldn't raise taxes on New Yorkers. It's Trump's fault that after I raised the tax on the wealthy, the 1 million wealthy people leave New York and I lost tax revenue. New York, here's a warning for all the socialists out there. Your ideology is a snake eating its own tail, right? This is why I say, like, hey, look, this is why I say socialists are scam. It's a scam. Socialism is a scam because at the end of the day, your very economic system relies upon the very people you hate. Make it make sense. Imagine creating a whole system wholly dependent on people that's responsible for generating 50% of your tax revenue. New York, you are tied and dependent to the rich. A snake eating its own tail. Creating incentives, property. Now, in some cases, hey, Mamdani has billionaires behind him. He's going to make sure those billionaires are okay. But this is the scam artist that I'm talking about. This is the scam that I'm talking about. Van Jones is sitting here complaining about, oh my God, this is so out of character for Mamdani. What do you mean? He did what was necessary. Now that he won, he don't have to act anymore. He don't have to appeal to as much voters anymore. He can be himself now. Because socialists, all they care about is power. Right? They love to say, according to your wants, according to your needs, whatever the saying is, whatever the communist saying is, right? But one thing the communists do believe, the ends justify the means. If they have to lie, they'll do it. If they have to cheat, they'll do it. If they have to steal, they'll do it. Because the end goal is what matters most, right? And I think this is why a lot of people are starting, especially on the conservative, on the right-wing side, they're criticizing young women because, young women kind of portray the naivety of wanting free stuff, of wanting security in government. But the government shutdown didn't prove to you that you shouldn't rely on the government. You shouldn't be dependent on the government. But you're going to vote in a guy that wants the government to be the solution to everything.
Scott?
Oh, are you saying he wasn't the unifying voice of a generation that you predicted mere moments ago? Axe, where was the man that you predicted would not slice and dice the? Look, guys, he started his speech by quoting Eugene Debs, who ran for president of the United States 5 times as the Socialist Party of America candidate. He repeatedly attacked people in this. No, I know my socialists. I keep a close eye on them. I work here. So here's the thing. He went after everybody that he thinks is a problem. People who own things, people who have businesses. He said an interesting quote: "No problem too large for government to solve."
Or too small, important.
And so when you think of the world that way, that every problem, no matter how small or how large, is something for government to do, let me just decipher this for you. Tax increases as far as the eye can see, which means the people who need to provide jobs to the young people that you say need jobs are going to flee as quickly as they possibly can. I think this was a divisive speech, and he clearly sees the world in terms of the people who are oppressing you and the oppressed. And he said the oppressed are now in City Hall.
And it should be no surprise why a lot of young women find that appealing, because, you know, young women in our country, especially if they are college educated, a lot of women go to college, right? Women disproportionately go to college compared to men. They've been indoctrinated with feminism to think in this kind of terminology, in this Marxist idealism. And I think this is what's driving the appeal to a lot of these young women voting at a 78 to 81% clip for Democrats, because they appeal to this oppressor framing of the world, divide and conquer, as you will, right? This is why I feel like we can't really unite as much as I believe we should as Americans, because at the end of the day, they're taught to look at their identity politics. This is where identity politics kind of play a part into this, right? Is that they keep framing certain people who they want to be the enemy as the oppressors. And then they consider you the oppressed. And then they try to make all these appeals. Oh, we're here for you. Oh, government will solve all this. Free this, free that. How are you going to do it? Oh, we need the oppressor's money. Right. And this is why I said socialism is a snake eating its own tail. But hey, given my commentary, it's like what do you guys expect to happen? Shout out to Liberal Hive Mind. Oh no, Democrats won 3 elections in 3 Democrat strongholds. We might as well give up and raise the white flag. It's over. This is what this is how the left want us to react. And this is why I find it so crazy. And I'm being consistent. Look at my video a day before. I forgot the name of the video I did. But essentially it was prediction, right? Something about election night 2025. That was the tagline on my thumbnail. Right? Watch that video and watch my reaction to this one. My thinking's consistent. This is an off-cycle election. All these are in lean blue, strong blue cities and states. Democrats are supposed to win these things. Now we're going to look at the margins. Look at the margins of victory. That's what I was saying. But end of the day, it's an isolated event in my eyes. F off. I won't feed into their little victory lap propaganda play. And you saw a lot of that in the clips that I showed you so far, especially on the news panel stuff. A lot of people were gloating and saying, "Oh my God, condolences to Scott Jennings," right? Laughing, interrupting, because they're in a joyful mode because, you know, they got something to actually look forward to now, right? Democrats had doom and gloom for the entire 8 months since Trump started his presidency. They needed some glimmer of hope. And that's what they got. Their party approval still remains at 29%. Let's follow the data moving to 2026. And that's how I see it too, honestly. I'm not trying to buy into this narrative or freak out over all this stuff. Like, there are some Democrats that won, right? Old school Democrats that still won. Like, yeah, Jacob Fry still won his race. He beat the Omar guy. So the progressive left lost some, but they also inspired other people. Right? Here's Mayor Madami's proved it. It doesn't matter. So this is another guy running for Nancy Pelosi's seat because Nancy Pelosi's retiring, right? And this is the future of the Democratic Party. The Democrats, especially the established old style one, and this is the warning to Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer. As you saw also, Scott Jennings pointed out that, hey, a lot of these progressive candidates are going to be coming for you, Hakeem. And since Zohran won in New York, which is where Hakeem Jeffries is in close proximity to, AOC's there, Chuck Schumer is there. It's looking like a strong chance that AOC could just remove one of the leading people in Democratic politics for decades. That man been in office longer than I've been alive. Chuck Schumer. She could remove him a year from now. Hakeem Jeffries may not be the House Speaker in 2026 if a progressive runs against him. And this is one of the reasons why I think Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries decided to try to shut down the government. Actually, they did shut down the government. They didn't try. They did shut down the government because they want to appeal to that base, because they're literally held hostage by their voters in New York. The voters of New York who put in a socialist as their mayor. This is how the Democratic Party is held hostage by their extremism, by their socialist aura, I would say, right? You got all these progressive streamers celebrating the events, joyful, right? There was a stat that showed up that only 48% of people, or 40% of people that voted, was actually born in New York. Every New York native voted for Andrew Cuomo. 48% of the New York natives voted for Andrew Cuomo. Everyone else who voted for Mandami, majority of them was born outside of the city. This is the future. This is what they want. This is demographics equals destiny. This is the strategy. This is when I keep talking about the immigration point, people keep thinking I'm playing. No. They want to replace me, you, everybody with these people as long as it benefits them politically. And this is the game. This is the means to their end, socialism, to their end, Democrat power. And the funny part is, Democrats set Mandami up for all this stuff by being open borders. Hey, election has consequences. Policies have consequences. And when Mandami has to govern now, there ain't gonna be no excuses. I'm not gonna tolerate any excuses, just like y'all ain't tolerating no excuses for Donald Trump and how the economy is going. And his economic bill, he just passed it in July in the summer. Hasn't even been 6 months since he passed his bill, but I expect immediate results when it's a Republican. But when it's Democrats, oh, we need to take our time. We need to take this slow. It's coming. Just wait. Yeah, you want us patient when a Democrat's in office and they're trying to do their economic thing. But when Trump's doing his stuff, oh, no, it has to be immediate. This is the game. But this is politics for you. But, I digress. I'll leave my thoughts and perspective in the comment section. But let me know your thoughts and opinions about it. Do you find it concerning that a lot of young women seem to be voting for their own oppression? Allegedly, anyway. Let me know your thoughts and perspectives in the comments section below. I'd each to hear what you guys have to say and your reactions to the Democratic sweep. Should we be reading into this? Should we not be reading into this? I'd like to hear your thoughts and perspectives in the comments section below. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, please share this video if you feel so inclined. It really does help me out in the algorithm. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.